Good morning and happy Monday. It's Melanie Ash from MelanieAshFitness.com. Today I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why, if you are dieting and you're working out, you're not losing weight and you want to know what is going on. I hear this a lot from women who will say they've tried everything. They've watched their diet, they've exercised, the scale won't move, the pounds won't budge, they never look any different. They're frustrated, and oftentimes that leads to completely giving up. It's very hard to stick to a diet if you feel like it's not working. You get demotivated, and sometimes it ends up sending you completely in the other direction. You're gaining weight, and then you're right back where you started trying to take it off again. Now, when you're dieting and working out, if you're not getting results, there's a couple of different reasons that I've highlighted why this may be happening. Today I'm going to talk about the number one reason. Now, that's not number one to say that it's the most common or it's the biggest. It's just number one on this list, but it is a very common issue. There are 4 that I've identified, and I've put them all at MelanieAshFitness.com. On my blog. If you click on blog, scroll down to that post. I'll also link it here in this video when I'm done. But today I'm going to touch on one reason that if you're trying to diet, if you've been tracking your food in MyFitnessPal, you're working out, and you feel like you've been doing that for a long enough time that you should be seeing the scale start to move and you're getting nowhere, there is a couple of reasons why that could be. The first reason that I want to touch on today is not accurately counting your calories. Listen, if you're trying to lose weight, calories in versus calories out is going to be a main factor. Yes, you have to be in a calorie deficit. You do have to be burning more energy than you take in. We know this. I will admit that many of us, many women, tend to overthink that, and they tend to eat much, much less than they need to, and they create far too large of a deficit. And that's actually another issue on this list that I'm not going to talk about today that I'll get into later this week. If you want to check it out, it's on that blog post at MelanieAshFitness.com. However, if you are dieting and you are not tracking everything you're eating, you're not measuring your portions, you're just eyeballing, you're kind of guessing at how much you're eating, that could be a main reason why you're not losing weight, because you could actually be eating a lot more than you think you are. One of the first things I have clients do is start tracking what they're eating in MyFitnessPal. And this is not meant to be something that we do forever. It's not realistic. It's not a great way to live your life, always constantly tracking your food. However, in this country, in the United States, if you go out to a restaurant, you order a portion for one person, what you typically get is a portion that is sizable enough to feed probably 2, sometimes 3 or more people. And what that means is that our brains tend to process serving sizes a little bit incorrectly because of what we are used to seeing served to us as one serving. Even if the restaurant doesn't intend you to eat it all at once, it comes to you on a plate for one. So automatically, when you're judging a serving size, you're biased without even meaning to be. If you're eyeballing something, you think that's about a portion. Unless you look at the label and the ingredients and exactly how much a serving is and measure that out, you're probably underestimating and over measuring. So if you're not tracking and you're not measuring and you're not weighing, think about that every day when you're eating things and you're eyeballing it and you're thinking, well, I'm only eating this much. That adds up over time. So what I would recommend doing in that case is get a food scale, get some measuring cups, start measuring out your portions, logging them in MyFitnessPal so you can really see how many calories or how many grams of carbs or how many grams of fat are in portions and how much of certain foods you're supposed to eat. Like if I bring home a bag of something, like a bag of nuts, a huge bag of nuts, I automatically portion it out into individual 1-ounce servings. That's how much I want to eat at a time, and I don't need to eat any more than that. It's already a good 100 calories or so. If I have a little tub of almonds, I may pick and nibble here and there all day long. It doesn't seem like I'm eating a lot of calories because it's also kind of light and snacky, and I'm just picking. But over time, if I eat a half a cup of almonds in a day, and I only account for it as one serving, that's more than the serving size that I had allotted, you're talking 200 to 300 more calories, more than my mind is telling me I'm eating. If I'm doing that every day and I'm doing that with a lot of high calorie foods, that's going to make a huge difference in what I think my calorie intake is versus what it actually is. So the first thing you want to do is start weighing and measuring and paying attention to portions. Read the label. Take a look at a bag of something, even if it's a small bag. Is that one serving? Or is it 2 or even 3 servings? And if you eat it all, you actually need to take the calories that it lists and multiply that by the number of servings. So if it's 200 calories, you're like, oh, this is only 200 calories. But if you look at it more closely and you see that it's 200 calories per serving, and there are 3 or 4 servings in that bag, and you ate the whole thing, boom, like 600 to 800 calories like that. And in your mind, you're only thinking that you're eating 200. If you've been doing this for a while and you've just been really focusing on trying to eat healthy and, watch your portion sizes and the scale is not moving, that's the next step. I think starting with just trying to eat healthy and just trying to pay attention to your own internal hunger cues and your portion sizes is a great idea. If you're not getting the results that you want, though, you've got to take it that step further. You've got to start really paying attention to what's a serving size, how much of everything am I eating, let me weigh this, let me measure this, let me put it in an app like MyFitnessPal and see where I'm ending up daily for calories, and you may find you're eating more than you actually think you are. The second thing with this one is those extra little picks and bites and nibbles here and there. I'm totally guilty of this when I'm food prepping or if I'm making, something with blueberries or maybe even mini chocolate chips. As I'm making the meal, I might be picking and putting a couple in my mouth. I told you I'm bad with almonds and those kinds of things. And it's very easy for us to those are imagined calories, they don't count, right? So you're picking little things here and there. Some of you guys are parents. Do you ever, without even really realizing it, finish the food that your kids leave on their plates as you're talking, or you're trying to get them off to school, you're grabbing and eating the food that they've left behind? We forget. We have calorie amnesia with those kinds of things, and we forget that we've eaten them. But they have calories. And even a little bit here and there isn't going to kill you, but if you're doing a little bit here and there all day long, every day, that can be just enough to keep you in a space that you're not in a calorie deficit. So with this one, it just goes back to mindfulness. You have to stop, slow down, be aware of what you're doing, and before you're putting things in your mouth, know whether or not they align with your goals, know whether or not you're weighing and measuring and how much that is, and whether or not you have room for it in your diet. Over time, just cutting back on those little things and just being mindful when you're eating can make a huge difference. Just stop, slow down, breathe. If you see something and you're going to put it in your mouth, stop for a second and think about it. It takes a little bit of effort, but if you're frustrated enough, you'll make that effort, because that could be the thing that makes the difference between, pounding out your head against the ground and feeling like you're doing everything and nothing's working. So you've got to really kind of be honest with yourself and take a look at what you're doing. Are you eyeballing and guessing? I looked at a food diary this week. Someone asked me to review their food diary, which I offer out to any of you for free. You can email me through melanieashfitness.com, or if you're on my list, just reply to one of my emails. I'm happy to look over in MyFitnessPal and just give you some feedback and give you my thoughts. So she said she's trying to lose body fat and wanted to know what I thought about what she was eating. And one of my first questions when I looked through her diary was whether or not her portions were weighed and measured and accurate. Because initially when I looked at this person's food diary, she was only eating some days 1,000 to 1,200 calories. So my first reaction was to say, you're not eating enough. I had to stop myself and say, wait a second, I don't know this person. They're not a client that I work with, so I don't want to make any assumptions here. Are you accurately measuring and weighing those foods? Because if you're not, there's a good chance that your calories are not quite as low as maybe they appear. And, her response was that she was guessing and eyeballing, and I said, okay, so you might be under eating, but I don't really know for sure unless you tell me that you actually, really were diligent about these measurements. My first recommendation for her was to, before she changes anything else, just spend at least a week actually weighing, measuring every single little thing. Cut out the little extra nibbles. Stop picking off the kids' plates. Start weighing and measuring everything. Get a baseline to see what you're actually taking in, and then we can determine whether or not some of the other things on my list of 4 reasons why you're not losing weight, we can start to dial in and see if one of those other 4 reasons could be the thing that's holding you back. But until we kind of conquer this one, it's hard to know which one is really the issue. So again, go to melanieashfitness.com, click on blog if you're interested in this post of these 4 reasons why maybe you're not getting results, even if you're dieting, even if you're working out, scale just isn't budging. You know, sometimes it's a matter of giving it more time. A lot of us are impatient. We expect to lose 10 pounds, after 2 weeks, and that's just really unrealistic. It takes time and it takes a lot of consistency. But I'm hearing from women who believe that they've been doing that for long enough, a good 6 to 8 weeks or more, and still aren't getting results. Here are the places that I would point you to look at more closely to see if you can get some better progress. So I'll link it here in the video after I'm done being live. I also have a great new offer for everybody that's interested that's free. It's a clean eating recipe book. My husband and I, we love to experiment in the kitchen, but we keep it real simple and real easy, very clean, healthy ingredients, and we've put together a book of 30 of our favorite recipes, breakfast, lunch, dinner. There's some desserts in there. There's some great snacks that I recommend. And I promise you these recipes are simple. I am not a chef. I don't get very creative in the kitchen, so they are easy and easy to find ingredients, really simple. If I see something with more than 10 ingredients, I'm usually I'm out. It's gotta be 5 or less. So these aren't gonna take you a ton of time. They are taste tested. They are delicious. It is free. That is at melanieashfitness.com/recipe book, all one word, melanieashfitness.com/recipe book. And we'll send that to you. My husband did a beautiful job with it. It has lots of pictures. It looks great. Really hope you like it. Hope you get you in the kitchen, get you experimenting a little bit. A lot of times, I get asked about recipes, and I tend to don't think that I use recipes because the meals that I make are so simple, but I finally realized there is a step-by-step to it. So these are recipes. They're just easy. They're not what you would traditionally think of. So check that out. I'm going to try to pop in this week and talk more about these other issues that I mentioned as to why you may not be losing weight. If you're interested in that, be sure to live subscribe. You'll see it there in the upper right-hand corner. And as always, if you think anybody that would be interested in this, please send them my way and share that recipe book link with them too, melanieashfitness.com/recipe book. Listen, it's Monday. We've got this. You have the whole week ahead of you. Where I am, at least, it is sunny and beautiful, and it's finally summer. For some of you guys, that means the routine changes, and that can be a little stressful. Control your controllables. It's not an excuse to get off track. Do what you have to do with the kids and then stick with your plan. Get those workouts in. Plan out the meals. Enjoy it. Give it time. And just, don't let anything be an excuse. It's only an excuse if you want it to be. If you really want this, you will make it happen. So thank you for popping on and joining me today. And remember to check out melanieashfitness.com. Click on blog for those other 4 reasons why you might not be getting results from your diet and exercise.